Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Beautiful day, beautiful moment, beautiful music. We're in the arms of the angels. We know that. Here and now. So these last couple of weeks, I have been feeling kind of under the weather. And I got an opportunity to catch up on a lot of movies and TV shows. And one of the movies that I watched was a New Thought movie called, yes, What a Man Thinketh. What a Man Thinketh. Anybody heard that? It's kind of an obscure film, but it reminded me that some of what we're talking about today it's like ancient wisdom. It goes back to ancient times. The movie is based on a book written by James Allen in the 1870s called What a Man Thinketh. And you've heard of it? Yeah, apparently it was very popular at the time. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Charles Fillmore, maybe read it and a lot of people were reading it and were inspired by it. So the title of the book and the movie come from that passage in Proverbs that says, "For as he thinks in his heart, so is he." For as he thinks in his heart, so is he. So for James Allen and New Thought folks at the time, this spoke directly to spiritual principle. Namely, that our thoughts are powerful in creating who we become. But not just our thoughts that come from our heart center are powerful in creating what we become, right? In other words, our thoughts coupled with that powerful, passionate feeling. It is not enough just to repeat affirmations, to say the words. This is not a mental exercise. Our true power comes from our heart. That's where we're connected with the infinite, right? And so we want to feel the words we're saying. We want to feel into the energy of the desired good that we're claiming, whether that's for ourselves or for someone else or for the world. So this we're going to call today feeling tone. Feeling tone, to separate it from emotions. So feeling tone is not just positive emotions as opposed to negative emotions. Feeling tone is more of an energy, a vibration that we generate within us. Reverend Michael Beckwith used to talk about feeling tone in this way. The feeling tone of love, of joy, of wholeness, of beauty, of peace. These are more than emotions. It's their energies. They're energies that are in alignment with our spiritual self, which we connect to in our heart center. So, when we do our affirmative prayer work or visioning or affirmations, we want to connect with our heart center first and not just say the words, right? We want to enter the feeling, to activate the feeling tone of the answered prayer. So we can start by asking ourselves, what would it feel like? What would it feel like if my prayer were answered right now? What would it feel like if the good that I was visioning suddenly manifested? What would that feel like? And then we focus on that feeling. We allow the feeling to grow within us, to be amplified within us. We let it fill our entire being and shape our words. Our words should come from our feeling nature. In fact, let's just practice that together right now. Just, again, get comfortable, coming back where you were. Start to take some deep, slow breaths. Close your eyes. Allow that breath to begin to relax every muscle in your being. Feel the breath opening your heart center. And now bring to mind that thing, that experience that you want to have. Just really get a clear picture of it. Visualize it. What is that? And now, consciously bring it into your heart center. Bring that image into your heart center. Breathe from that place right now. What is that feeling tone? What is the feeling that's generated by having and experiencing this good? What would it be like? What would it feel like? Be pretty awesome, wouldn't it? So begin to identify what those feelings are. Is it joy? Is it love? Is it a sense of expansiveness? Freedom? Is it a feeling, a sense of wholeness and well-being? Is it peace? Is it a feeling of oneness? What is it? And now allow that feeling that you've identified to start to grow within you. Feel it absolutely vibrating within every cell of your being. Feel it coursing through your veins. And now imagine that there is a volume knob attached to that feeling. I want you to take that volume knob and crank it all the way up. You are at 100% volume, feeling this feeling. Ooh, just allow yourself to be immersed in that feeling, that amazing feeling tone. And now, from this space, from this feeling tone, I want you to say your affirmation. Whatever it is you're working on, just make sure it's in the present tense as if you were experiencing it now. Go ahead and say it softly aloud. That's it. That feeling tone is shaping your words. Feel the energy of that. Okay, now take a deep breath and begin to bring your awareness back into the room, back into your body, back into the here and now. Do you feel the difference? That's how all affirmative prayer and affirmation should go. This is the secret to making it effective. That's the secret. Because we are vibrational beings. We're not just a body with the brain. We are vibrational beings. And if we sort of leave out that vibrational part of us and just do our affirmations from our head, it's kind of like riding a stationary bike. You know, you're getting a lot of exercise, but you're not going anywhere. So that's the feeling tone we want to begin to establish and work from. Okay, so now let's talk about emotions. So in the context of what we're talking about today, emotions are different than feelings. Emotions come from that human self. It's that human part of us that responds to life with anger, joy, fear, happiness, glee, sadness. And the thing is, most of us want to embrace those positive feelings, those positive emotions, And we want to avoid the negative ones. Particularly in spiritual community, we think that negative emotions are not spiritual. Or maybe we're afraid that if we feel them, maybe I'll manifest something I don't want, so I don't want to go there. Now, I'm not talking about dwelling in our negative emotions. We definitely don't want to indulge our fear or our anger. We don't want to wallow in our sadness. That's not what I'm talking about. But we don't want to repress it either. So, rather than something to be avoided, all of our emotions are essential because they're how we process our experience here in this human dimension. Emotions are how we process our experience in this human dimension. And if we make a habit of avoiding or denying our emotions or any part of our physical experience, it's like we're not fully grounded. And I think we want to be fully grounded. We want to inhabit the fullness of our being, right? So emotions of fear and sadness and anger and frustration are part of our human experience. And when we experience them, the last thing we need to do is to add on top of that a judgment. Oh, I'm not spiritually mature. Oh, somehow I failed to apply spiritual principle. Do we need another excuse to beat ourselves up? No, we don't. So, emotions. And see, here the thing is, if we deny our emotions and immediately pivot to a more positive thought, which is, I know, a very popular idea, new thought, but I feel like we skip an important step, which can have negative consequences. So, stifling strong emotions and pushing them down so no one can see them doesn't make them go away. They just go underground and they become toxic. Right? Those things. Emotions are energy and need to be released energetically. And if they're not released energetically, they can sort of find their way into our physical body. And you might suddenly experience, oh, wow, suddenly I have a headache, or suddenly I have a backache, or a stomach ache, or some other acute physical thing. If so, it's a good indication that there is, some strong emotion that you've been trying to repress. And if you make a habit of constantly repressing those strong emotions, it can contribute to something more chronic. So instead, if we just acknowledge what we're feeling, if we acknowledge it and we're present to it, it actually passes pretty quickly, particularly if we're releasing it energetically. Having a good cry is cleansing, isn't it? Haven't you experienced that? Screaming into a pillow with gusto can release anxiety. Hitting a tennis ball with a sense of purpose against a back wall releases frustration. I learn a lot by watching my dogs. And, right? Don't you learn a lot by watching your animals? My dogs, they're two kind of big dogs. Occasionally they get into a tussle with each other. Or sometimes if they're frustrated in their attempts to chase a squirrel. You know what they do afterwards? They shake. They shake it off. I mean, their entire body shakes from the tip of their nose to the tip of their tail, as if they were wet and trying to dry themselves. It's not a physical thing. It's emotional. So they're shaking it off. And that act of shaking it off releases the tension, and they're able to recalibrate. And sometimes even after they've done this, they'll actually begin to nudge each other a little bit. One will sometimes even lick the other one. We can learn a lot by watching our animals. We can learn a lot. Now, once we have released that energy, energetically, we want to return back to center. We want to return to our center. And from that place, we can open to the love that is there. We can open to the wisdom that is waiting for us. And it's important, once we've released a strong emotion, to return to our center, to open our heart and feel our way back into the awareness that all is well. Feel our way into the awareness that all is in divine order. Returning to center. It's also helpful, I feel, to separate our emotions from who we truly are. In other words, it's not my anger, it's just anger. I am not angry. That's not who I am, right? I'm feeling anger. It's not my sadness that's coming up again, it's just sadness. I am not sad. That's not who I am. I'm feeling sadness. And that sort of shift can really help us begin to allow, it's just easier for those emotions to come up and be released when we're not so attached to that's who I am, right? And so, I feel like probably the biggest gift that our emotions can give us is by revealing the beliefs that lie underneath them. So when we look at it that way, emotions can become a helpful tool to us in pointing us in the direction of where our thinking may be out of alignment with our spiritual truth. So, for example, if I am feeling fear, and 9 times out of 10, if I'm feeling fear, it's in relation to my children. Just the way it is. So if I'm feeling fear, rather than immediately pivoting to a positive thought or denying that it's there at all, if I could just kind of lean into that a little bit for a moment and explore what that is. Why? What is that fear? Why am I feeling fearful? I might discover their belief that's fueling that fear, that I've forgotten that the divine presence is within them, that divine light is surrounding them, that divine guidance is leading their life. I've forgotten. So the fear is a signal to me that my thinking is off. So I can, thank you, fear, for pointing me in the direction of where my thinking is off so I can correct this. And then I release the fear remember, energy, we're not just physical bodies with a brain, we are energetic beings. Emotions, energy needs to be released energetically. So I might do a nice deep breath with a nice big audible sigh. Let that come out. Or I'll even shake like my dogs. Shake it out, dance it out, jump it out, run it out, something, Get that out of there. Yeah, bounce a little bit. And then, you see, I can return to center. Now, I'm more open. My heart is open. My heart is opening to the awareness, to the wisdom that is there. What is that wisdom? The divine presence is their life. Divine guidance is guiding them every step of the way. And so from that place, I can then enter that feeling tone of love, that feeling tone of oneness, that feeling tone of the divine is fully present, and then affirm from there. Do the affirmation from there. See how this works? Okay, so let's take another example. Say somebody is feeling intense anger. All right? So what might be the beliefs that are fueling that anger? Is, for example, maybe this person is fearing that somebody's betraying him, or the world is against him, or his needs aren't being taken care of. So again, the anger, rather than immediately pivoting, immediately saying a positive affirmation or denying or pushing it down, just like, what is that about? You know, let me do a little exploration here. What is fueling this anger? If this person's on a spiritual path, they may come to the understanding that the world reflects back to them what they believe themselves to be. So he can ask himself questions. What am I believing to be true about me? Do I really believe I'm separate from others? Do I really believe I'm separate from love? Do I really believe that I live in a hostile universe that's against me? Right? Those questions. And then he can release the anger in whatever way, right? Screaming into a pillow, going for a strong run, basketball, whatever. Releasing it energetically. And then he comes back to center. And then opens the, ooh, now I can, this is clear now. I can open my heart center. I can open to the love that is there. I can more easily understand and feel my oneness with everyone. I can feel my oneness with the world. I can feel into that truth that the entire universe is supporting my every effort. The entire universe is conspiring to support me in my every effort. Let me feel into that awareness. Let me feel that love. And that feeling tone of love is then generated. And from that place, from that feeling tone, speaking the affirmation. So you see how emotions are, they're not something to deny, push away, to be afraid of, to be ashamed of. They're part of this whole mechanism within us that is pulling us towards our wholeness, because it can help point out where our thinking is out of alignment with the spiritual truth. We know we're energetic beings. We can release the energy in a safe way. We come back to our center. We open to that love, that wisdom that is within us. We embrace the feeling tone of the desired good. We allow that, turn up the volume knob, really allow ourselves to feel the fullness of that feeling tone. Speak our affirmation from that place. Telling you, it will shift your experience. It will shift your understanding and your experience of your emotions, and will shift your prayer work, prayer and affirmation work. Yes? Okay. Let's do it. Namaste.